All right, welcome to our pick list for Kentwood. We're going to start off with in the A tier, uh which for my predictions to now has dramatically decreased in size. And starting us off is going to be 10633 Bebotics. Now, Bebotics has been quite consistent all competition. They came in with a good bot. They're performing. There's not much to say. I mean, they have a fast shooter. They are able to feed themselves. They have a double grab and shoot auto. There's not much else to say about Bebotics. They're just simply the best robot here. That being said, there is a challenger to that. And someone could argue that 7220, the Steel Falcons, are equally as good. And this is they are performing better than I expected. And I think they are a very solid and dangerous pick. They have a very fast shooter, they have a great auto, and they have a super fast intake. So 7220, I think, is in our A tier, but I think they're the last one in our A tier, which is a big difference from what I had before, because before I had 5 teams in this A tier. But really, if you look at the competition here, these are the two robots that are at that top tier. This next robot I'm going to call a B plus robot, and that's 1023. I had them as A in the predictions, but Bedford Express, I just didn't think was rising to quite the level of competition that Bebotics or the Steel Falcons were. And so I think they're a very solid pick, maybe even able to win it all, but I don't think they're at the same tier as Bebotics or Steel Falcons. And another one in that same category of B plus is going to be Average Joe's, 3620. Now 3620, I will note, has a really unique auto, and I think that is something that is worth mentioning. And so yeah, I also put them as a B plus robot, and I think they would do very good as a first solid pick. Uh, the next robot is Enigma, and this was a downgrade for me because I had them as an A robot in my predictions, but I'm just calling them a B. I'm not even calling them a B plus. And the reason for this is I would see I had saw several matches where they would drive, and if the center is filled with a lot of balls or a lot of robots and there's just a lot of stuff going on, they can get caught up, they can get stuck, and it requires them to have someone go rescue them, and it just slows the disruption of the match. If you're competing against a Bebotics and a 7220, like you can't afford to get caught on balls. It just isn't something that's going to be acceptable at an A tier, and so that's really why I downgraded Enigma. Even though like Fun has them rated quite highly, I just think B tier is where they belong. Another big downgrade for me is that one team. I had such high expectations for 4967 going into this event, but I think realistically, I mean, I look at my objective data on them. I look at how they perform. I mean, it's not they're performing badly. It's just like they are performing at B minus level, and so yeah, we didn't have a lot of solid Bs. I mean, I think Enigma was the only one, and 4967 is on the top of that B minus tier. But they are playing at a B minus level. I hope they can turn that around this morning, but I don't think it's their robot. I just think it's just how they've been driving and how they've been presenting themselves at this competition. So I'm not saying that they can't rise to that higher level. I'm just saying at this competition they have not shown evidence of it. And that's it's kind of a similar story with the fabricators. I feel the same exact way with 5166. Now I think definitely they belong in the B tier. They're definitely stronger than the C robots, but they are also a B minus robot. Just because they aren't competing at that top tier level that I would expect at this level of competition. Now, for the remainder of these picks on this list, they're all C pluses. There's no distinction. But to start off this list is going to be 2771 Code Red Robotics. Now, I think Code Red Robotics could be really good, and they could be that B tier, but every time they've had an opportunity to prove that they belong in that B tier, they have shown weakness. I think Code Red Robotics, they have an auto, and it is a good auto, but then you would see them miss, or you'd see them get caught up. And one of the issues I had with Code Red was just sometimes their technical driving wasn't as heads up as it needed to be. They would ram into alliance partners, and sometimes they'd look as strong as a B tier. They would shoot great, and they would make shots that you just wouldn't expect them to be able to make. And so it's I think there's just the inconsistency that Code Red shows is why I put them at the top of the C plus tier rather than in a B minus tier. Another robot with a very similar story is 3875 Red Storm Robotics. I think they're very comparable to Code Red Robotics, and so I think, yeah, I think 3875 is exactly the same story as Code Red, and I think I think it's a toss up which one's better, but yeah, I think they did a great job with their auto. I mean, but they would have issues just like Code Red would, where their auto would get caught up. They'd have issues where their intake is a bit slow. But then you look at their shooting, and their shooting looks fantastic. So I think with Red Storm, really the only thing I'm really worried about with them is their intake. And so it's just overall, they're very similar vibes to Code Red, where it's like they're really close to that B tier level, but they just aren't there. Our next robot is Eddie Circuits. The 9208, I mean, sometimes they were playing defense, and they were a great defense bot. But as an offense bot, I mean, they had their ons and offs. I would just watch them when they did their offense, and they had that similar vibe, that same strength that Code Red and Red Storm had. So I think that clearly belong in the C tier. Now, Demons Robotics 858, I really, really liked. I thought they shot very, very well, and they have that potential to be a B tier robot for sure. But then I would see matches where I was very much less convinced of that. And so I think for 858, it's not that they are bad in any way, but the reason why I put them here is just because of their inconsistency. I think overall they have the very high upsides, and but I think but I put them at the C tier because I think they have a similar story where it's just this tier is all about, they have sparks of greatness, but they also have inconsistencies in there too. These are all solid bots. Now, this next one was a huge upgrade for my predictions. I predicted to do as well. Just based off their first event, they were not this strong, but 6081 is really surprising to me. I thought they did a great job here. Now, they have a lot of technical difficulties, and they run into issues where they aren't working every match, but when they are working, man, do they fly. So I put them on the C tier just because of their inconsistencies, but they also are reasonably strong. And so looking at my pick list, this is my of what I think a pick list would look like. And I think this is a very solid start for that first round of picks to see who's who and what's what and who you should pick and when and why. And I'll see you in the next video.